What's up, YouTube? I want to do a more complete review on the Blizzard Champion plastic. I already had a video out just on this Wraith specifically, but once I got the TeeDevil and tested a little bit, I found some really interesting comparisons going on and some major differences for sure. So I figured it would be cool to kind of do it more of a comparison type review. So I have a Wraith and a TeeDevil. They're both 139 grams. I noticed right away with the Wraith that it's a little bit slippery for me. If your hands are, I feel like if I like to, like lick my thumb a little bit sometimes, it helps me get a little bit, just a little bit of moisture, helps me get more of a tacky grip. That helps with this one, but even though it's kind of slippery, it depresses easily into the grip, and it's got a nice wide rim. I'm not worried about it popping out of my grip too soon. I didn't have that happen in any of the test throws with it, so even though I'm not super fond of the grip, it's definitely doable. I like the feel of like a Flex or FLX plastic. I even like the feel of Pro D plastic better personally. I like the grip, but the TeeDevil is probably a little bit slipperier, but pretty similar. Now you might have noticed one of the major differences between these two already, and that is they're both 139 grams, as I think I said, but as you can see, all the micro bubbles. Now this is what makes the Blizzard Champion what it is. Basically, it's a durable plastic with lots of little tiny bubbles in the plastic that allow these wider rimmed, faster drivers to be molded in really light weights. This one has bubbles pretty much throughout the entire disc. It's a really beautiful disc. I'm really fond of the way it looks. It's really cool. But yeah, you can see the bubbles. They're going through the entire disc, flight plate, rim, and all. On the TeeDevil, as soon as I took it out of the package, I noticed right away there are no bubbles at all in the flight plate, and there are lots of bubbles, and they look a little bit bigger in the rim, right, as you can see there. So that's a major difference as far as I'm concerned. I think that's kind of interesting. I'm not really sure why that is. I'm willing to assume that you can find any of the molds in Blizzard Champion with bubbles all throughout or just in the rim. I don't know if that's just a thing they do on purpose or if it's just a part of the manufacturing process. I really don't understand it. It's kind of strange. You'd think they would go with one or the other. The other thing is this Wraith is a little bit slicker but smoother overall. The rim is nice and smooth. There was no flash or anything like that. Really comfortable in the hand. Now this TeeDevil, when I took it out, as soon as I put it in my hand, I noticed it had a pretty sharp flash on the whole outside of it, and you might be able to see that it's just really rough. The edge is very rough. The bubbles. It's like the bubbles on the edge of the rim are kind of open, like they're popped open, and so you're feeling the inside of the bubbles rather than like them being embedded in the plastic. You can kind of feel the edge of the bubbles on the edge of the rim. That also allows, as you might be able to see there, dirt and stuff to get pretty much embedded in the disc that I'm not sure you're going to be able to do much about. There's lots of little chunks of dirt and stuff stuck in here from the testing. So really kind of weird. I don't understand it. It's kind of something, being honest, it's kind of something that I dislike about Innova plastic. I feel like there are great discs out there, but they're much more consistent than Discraft from disc to disc. I think Discraft is pretty much known to be more consistent across the board. If you buy a Z-Buzz, you buy another Z-Buzz, you buy another Z-Buzz, they're the same disc. They're not going to have these wild differences in the plastic. But yeah, so as far as the way these discs fly, I tested the Wraith first, and I've had it a little bit longer. As soon as I got done testing the Wraith, I ordered the TeeDevil because I was so impressed with this Wraith. It's just a really straight flyer. It flies pretty much like any other Wraith I've thrown, but just has a little more hang time. I tested it against my Surges, which are pretty close. They're maybe a little bit slower, and these ones are both normal weights. They're in the high 160s, maybe 170. So I tested against these. These are two of my farthest flying drivers. They're this Flexor just is my go-to for sure. I tested against them downhill into a slight wind, uphill with the wind, with a tailwind, and then back across the field down below at crosswinds back and forth a few times. And I also played a few rounds with it now. In my initial field testing, it just flew a little bit further than these Surges every single time. Barring one instance when I actually just kind of shanked it. It was a bad release. It went shorter, but still not by much. Anytime I put the same effort on it, I tried to throw as consistently as I could. I wasn't trying to crush it. I was just trying to put it on a nice line. Every time I did that to a similar degree, like I tried, this Blizzard Champion Wraith just went a little bit further. Every time, maybe 25, 30 feet on average further. I used it in some rounds too. I hit a tree with it pretty hard. It didn't really take much of a ding. There's like a little bit of a stained area there where it kind of just got a little scuffed, but really no problem. So the durability seems nice for sure. On the course, it's a really nice disc. It's a great straight flyer. It's pretty consistent to finish to the left. Even with some slight winds out there, you'd be surprised how controllable this is and how stable it is in the wind for such a lightweight disc. Even like I said, downhill into the headwind, it wasn't really flipping over completely on me. It was turning a little bit and coming back. And with a tailwind, even throwing with an Anheuser, it was fighting back and landing back to the left, with up the hill. And with a tailwind, it's pretty easy to get to land to the left. But it was working. I like this disc a lot. It's definitely in the bag now. It's right alongside these Surges, and will probably be used in this order. I'll probably still be throwing this one primary. Probably throw this Blizzard Wraith every now and again if I feel like I need a little more glide, and this one still if I want it to finish a little stronger to the left. So that is the Blizzard Champion Wraith. Now the TeeDevil is a faster disc. It's a speed 12, and I tested it against my other fast, relatively lightweight drivers, which are 160 or 165 Pro D Nuke, and then a 150 class Pro D Force. On the first throw with this TeeDevil, I was amazed at how understable it is. I expected it to be stable, kind of like this Wraith, and go straight and fish to the left. Not the case. Every single toss I've thrown with this TeeDevil, it has turned over. Even with a tailwind, it was turning over on me. I couldn't really do anything much with it. The first time I threw it, it turned over so much it turned into a roller, kind of, an accidental roller. And I'm throwing it in the same wind conditions as I'm throwing these, broken in lightweight Pro D discs, and they're much more stable. Even with a tailwind, I was able to turn this thing over without much trouble. So if you have even a medium or average arm and above, and you get a TeeDevil that's as flippy as this one, I don't see you're going to be able to do much with it besides rollers or big turnover shots. I got to be honest. I was shocked. I'm not a power thrower by any means. I don't throw very far either, honestly. But every time I snapped it well, it just started turning and didn't really come out. With the tailwind, it came out a little bit, but if you throw it hard, especially if you throw it flat, it's just going to turn and not come back. I was throwing it on a hyzer every time, on a pretty good hyzer, and it's still just, wow, really flippy. So that being said, though, I gave it to my buddy who was just starting out. It's his second round. I was like, try this TeeDevil, because I had tested it already. I knew how flippy it was for my power, and he's just starting, so he doesn't have much power at all. And it flew actually quite nicely for him. It got him some distance. It turned a tiny bit and then finished back to the left, and just its nice lightweight and high speed, high glide actually got him some pretty good distance. You know, I usually would tell beginners not to really throw high-speed discs, but if you can get a TeeDevil along these same lines, it's going to be this flippy. I would bet it would be a great beginner distance driver, maybe for younger players, maybe for the ladies out there, or you know, guys that just don't throw a lot of power. It's a pretty sweet, you know, flippy disc for low power shots. But if you have you know, even an average arm, it's just crazy flippy. I was really surprised. Now, I'm guessing, you know, I don't really know why this is, you know, why this Wraith is significantly more stable than this TeeDevil. I think it's just because of the bubbles. The fact that the bubbles are out throughout the whole disc on the Wraith, and then the bubbles are just in the rim on this TeeDevil. I don't have the money or really the time so much to buy another TeeDevil with bubbles on it and test it and all that, you know, throughout the whole thing and test it compared to this one and all that kind of stuff. I just don't have the money to be buying plastic just to, you know, do scientific experiments with it, I guess. But so if you're looking for a TeeDevil that's really flippy, like I said, you're a beginner, you're trying to get a distance driver, I would go to your store, try to find one without bubbles. This one's really flat on top as well, and it's a 140. Now, if it had more of a dome, it might be more stable. High-speed drivers like destroyers and stuff are like that, and if it has bubbles throughout the whole thing, it might be a little more stable. This Wraith is slightly domier, for sure. It's not quite as flat, and it has the bubbles throughout the whole thing, and it's not overstable, but it's nice and stable, and it's not turning over accidentally. So there it is. That's I can't really give you an idea of how far this thing flies in comparison to these. I mean, if you got it on the right angle and the right power, it could probably go farther than them without much question, but it's a matter of whether or not you can do that. I really couldn't, honestly. I was amazed by how flippy this thing was. Just ridiculous. So it doesn't have a place in my bag. That's the bottom line. The Wraith is staying in the bag for sure. This TeeDevil, I'm probably going to sell to my buddy who's just starting out. He liked it quite a bit. It is a pretty disc. It's a really nice, vibrant color. I like that. I like the white and orange look to it. And it feels good in the grip. You know, the TeeDevil, maybe I would like a TeeDevil in a regular plastic. That would be a little bit more stable, but yeah, that's my review on Blizzard Champion Plastic. Hopefully that's not too incredibly long-winded for you guys. I try not to just, you know, give you guys specs of discs and just show them to you. You know, I want to give you guys some more input and some more explanation the only way I know how, and that's talking. So thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.